Okay, we're back. All right, Miss Mary. So we talked a little bit about what you did before your Made in Montana business.
Right.
One thing we did not cover, which I always like to, is what county do you help represent?
Jefferson
Sweet.
County.
Yes, 51.
51.
51.
Oh. I'm gonna make a hoodie. 51. 51.
Ooh, you
Who's gonna
should,
put-
actually. That would be pretty awesome.
Man.
So I like that. We'll talk about that because like I said, I have another idea for you.
Okay. I like that. I didn't know it was 51. 51 out of 56.
51, which is so interesting because, so I had to learn all the county numbers in my previous career because I audited law enforcement, so I had to know every single county, and that was how it was represented in our computer system, was by the county number. So it's still embedded into my brain daily.
But is that are we the 51st county to be acknowledged?
No, I think it went by population. So Butte is one, and so Butte had the highest population at one point in time.
Same with the license plate. Used to say 1, 3,
Yes.
4, 6 for Bozeman.
Exactly. So, and then us, Lewis and Clark, County 5. I don't know. We stole the capital city from Butte, so there's that. There's that whole history. Just a little history lesson for you all. Helena's not the real capital. No.
Is it not?
No, it is. But there's a fun story if you take our tour train. And I don't know if they still have this very same tour guide, but I absolutely love her. She will tell you that when you pass the old sheriff's mansion on, I think it's Broadway, he kept the ballot box in his basement, and he shoved ballots in there for Helena to win. And so really it should have been Butte, but Helena won because we shoved ballots into the ballot box.
So we cheated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're cheaters.
We are not cheaters.
Yeah, we're not, but Helena, just,
We associate with a cheating county.
Yeah, cheating county, capital city, that is where
funny.
it's at. So yeah, it's a fun story.
Did not know that.
I love all the history that they tout. So, well, we talked a little bit about what you did prior, but now I want you to kind of describe what was it like to transition from a career that you had for quite a while into something that was kind of like the unknown.
It was so unknown. Like I was saying, the whole computer thing. First, you got to learn the computer to even create a website, to even know
So you
how to...
created your whole website?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Don't go there right now because I have not been there for a while. I really moved into more like this.
Fair.
I need to go update it, but
you can update mine while you're at it.
So, excuse me. So I had that whole learning curve. Then COVID hit, the shutdown came, and everybody started trying to create a business, and t-shirts seemed like I didn't do it because it was easy. I did it because I love wearing. It's what I wear. It's how I get the word out. It's what I do. I like hoodies, that say things. So that's kind of where I started, and probably same with all them. And so then 2020 came out. So with business, you're always having to adjust.
Yes.
And and a lot of times we come out of alignment. I came out of my intention and the vision for what I wanted was to encourage, inspire, motivate others to shine and be their best selves. And I kind of just got lost up in doing this. I don't mind doing it companies.
Right.
Hoodies and whatever. However, it isn't, I don't feel I'm creating.
It's because you're kind of commissioned in that sense.
Right.
And you have to make what they want, essentially.
Yeah, you're making it, and it's a great process, and it's great as a side note but I love designs, and I love finding different designs. I like making designs. I like color. I like color.
You do, and you
do like color.
I like your color, okay?
I do like
Hence
color.
I'm wearing it today.
Yeah, and that's why I say listen to her, because that was her idea. She's like, can you make me something with kind of blah, blah, blah. And it just went off the shelf. Like, I mean, people loved it because it's fluent and foul language.
Yes.
And this is her perfect shirt when you get to know her outside of business.
I won't use my foul language in the shop, but well, sometimes maybe.
Sometimes it's necessary.
That is true. Sometimes it is necessary.
No.
But no, I was really shocked too at the reaction to that because.
Oh man. And then it was, could I have it in this color with this print and this color, and that's when I enjoy that.
Right.
Versus 50 hoodies where you're just placing a logo and turning it over and placing a print, placing a logo. Right. That's work. To me, that's a job.
Gotcha.
I don't want a job. My job is taking care of my people.
That's so fair. Well, and it's nice though to not have it feel like a job.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one thing where
I don't mind work.
Yeah.
A job to me says that you have to be here at this time and do this at this time and impress these people. And work to me is, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no.
But work to me is, I get to do this. I get to do this. And I love what it's different.
It's different. That resonates with me just because I know what that feels like going from like the career that I had. And even though like I own and operate this, so in a sense it is kind of like a job. I have to be here at certain times or what, I don't make money, right? Or I don't get to sell all of these amazing products that are under my roof. But to me, the work is more important than the job itself. And so the work is the fun part, and it doesn't feel like a job when I have to come and open at 11. Like I'm excited. I'm like, ooh, what do I get to sell today? Who do I get to tout today? Whose story do I get to tell today? You know? So no, I totally get that I don't want a job thing because I don't either.
I've worked pretty much full time since I was 16. Well, then, except for a few years when I was, so anyway.
Yeah, no, that's.
My job is my family.
Did you find, this is kind of a follow-up question to, kind of transitioning into your Montana Made business. Did you find that kind of opening up in the COVID era, if you will, like, was that a pretty, like, tumultuous time? Or did you find that people were actually excited to, or like that they were buying because they could really only buy online? Like we didn't have physical contact. We didn't have a lot of the things that we're used to again now, where you can physically go into a store and touch things. And so did you find that worked out really well for you, or was it kind of like?
So I was doing a lot of Facebook Lives, and I was painting at the time. I think I was making
this
signs.
I didn't know about you. You paint?
I make signs. I really just made t-shirts at first, and I went into sign making and painting. I just, whatever.
Dabble in it all.
And I love doing that in the winter. To me, painting is a winter thing for me, where creating color is a summer and spring thing. I don't know why, it just is who I am. Yeah. And so, so that was, it was so many, so here's what happened. So many people went online, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's like online. Did it go negative? There was a lot of negative being put online. You had to be really careful what you were out there with. Hence why it inspired me to be even more motivational, encouraging, and inspiring to people to find your inner self and shine that. Bring out who you are to this world, because we all have a reason and a purpose, right? Yeah. And so there was a lot of people online, so I could do Facebook Lives and have a lot of products sell. Nice. I really didn't have to stick them on my take picture. Let me just tell you, what she does for posting, we think it took a minute. It can take 2 or 3 days. It can take editing. It can take, what am I going to do now? Like, there's so much that goes into it. It's not just a simple, here's my picture, here's my post. Right? There's a lot.
There's a lot of creative backing in that, and you do, like, there's times where I go through like a creative block, and I don't always want it to look the same, right? And I know I use the same backdrop every time, which people love because they're like, oh, the lighting or whatever. But like, do I want the same floral thing or this, you know? So yeah, there's a lot that goes behind that. And then I can't imagine, because I used to do that for a full-on e-commerce website. So I can't even imagine what you have to do with every single product to
then you got to resize it, and then you got to size it, then you got to color the background, then you got to figure out, is this what this site's going to take? And so I tried a lot of different places to sell on different platforms. I didn't really do eBay. That was one I didn't try. But I also homeschool that year. I pulled Xavier out of school, and I just said, none of us know what's going on. I'm not playing the game of fear. I don't play fear. That's just not the game I'm going to play. We're not going to play this. Okay, he's in what? He would have been back then in second grade maybe? Yeah, going in second grade. Every kid is going to say, ooh, look at my mask. Try my mask on, right? Like,
yes.
He would have been, and because he's a big personality, his personality is so colorful, he would have been in a lot of trouble. And they didn't know how they were going to teach. Mm-hmm. Are we going to do it online? Are we not? Are we, So I just homeschooled. I pulled him out, signed up for homeschooling. We homeschooled. We were way ahead of the ball game.
Nice.
Because by noon, we've done all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So he's crafting with me, and he's painting with me, and we're taking this course online on how to paint. I don't know how to paint. I didn't even know how to make a stick man. I still don't. But I can follow.
Yes, you do.
Well, I can make a stick man, but sometimes it looks like a boy, and then I get in trouble. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that.
That's fair. I can picture it now. Like, maybe we need a t-shirt.
So that was kind of my art. That was our art that we did that year. We painted this gnome that we still laugh about. We painted Easter bunnies.
Oh my gosh.
That looked like we both were learning how to paint Easter bunnies, and it's fine and it's good. Yeah. But I like to stencil. I went into this, I took a lot. I guess that was my time of learning, right?
Yeah.
Because now I'm no longer in this career, and so now I'm learning, how do I set up a website, take a course on that. Like, I had a lot of money going out to try to learn how to create and manage a business online, because it is nothing like a brick and mortar. Completely different.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say 2020 for me was the hardest year. I would say 2021 is when it hit, because that's when people didn't have money that they were spending. Yeah. That's when we really all kind of pulled in, because we weren't sure, right?
Right.
Now we're going to go. And people are getting sick left and right. So you're up, and then you're down for a week or two, and then you're up. So yeah, it was just a whole lot of navigating, and you have to want it.
When you have it, yeah, exactly.
And I needed the freedom to be able to be there for my family. So
yeah, no. What I was going to say, one thing you mentioned before was kind of having that level of adaptability in owning your own business, and that's so true, because if you can't adapt to whatever's happening with the economic climate of it, you will fail. I mean, you just have to find a way to just slip your goods in there, if you will, and find a way to sell it and manage it and promote it, and you're right, and want it. Mm-hmm. So that, I mean, ultimately, if you don't want it, then it just tanks. So
and it wasn't, I didn't go big. It wasn't my first priority. It was what I did to keep me nice to the rest of the family. So my energy was being put into something.
Yeah, no, I so get it.
And so I went into it with, let's build a business, I'm building a business, but I didn't go into it like I am building a business, and I'm still not that person. I want to create stuff. I'm not looking to make millions. I don't want to make millions, actually.
No, that's
because
too much.
What I would have to do to make millions is not who I want to become. It works perfectly. I love my life. I love what I do. I love this whole environment. This changed my world. This made me go, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not out here by myself. Look at all these other makers that are out here. Look at this person bringing in all of us makers. And I got behind you so easy and so fast, because your vision was so clear that it was unity, and it wasn't just you saying, it's me, look at me. It was, look at us. And that's really where
that.
That's
because I can tell, like, just hearing that, like, it like warms my heart, because I can think back to to that first 6 months of being open and being terrified.
Scary.
It is. It's super
and
scary.
You have brick and mortar, so it's not like, hey, I have a website that's costing me $50 a month. Right.
Yeah, and having made that change, kind of like what I talked about when you came on in March of 23, I mean, that was very much the infancy of 56 counties. And so the fact that I still had people, like, interested in wanting to become a vendor, and people were still walking through that door saying, will you take my goods and sell them? I mean, I was like shocked at that, because I was relatively unknown. I mean, and even now I still like to think like I'm kind of relatively unknown. So I mean, but I think that also is like what keeps, like, not that I'm not humble anyway, but I think that's what keeps me very grounded, is not looking at, am I being noticed, or is it, taking off in some big massive way, because that's never been the goal. Like you said, the goal is to keep that community alive, which I
think you birthed it. I think this is me. For me anyway, you brought it alive for me. I didn't even know that this was I didn't even know this was an option.
I love it.
I mean, I didn't. I came in here with my tail between my legs. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know people did this. I didn't know makers had a place to go besides markets. And I'm like, weekends we're in the woods. That's what we do. If we can get out and we're hiking and we're looking for sheds and we're fishing and we're Montanan, that's what we do. We've done it our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's like, well, you got to go to this market and you got to do this market. And I'm like, but I'm not giving up my family to sell something. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally
I just didn't even
understand
know it was an option. And then just your vision, and when I came in and hearing you and what this was all about, I would, like I said, I was immediately just like, oh my word, she is not for her, she is for us, and the us includes her, but and you're here, like, you hop on there and instead of going, look at me and look at what I made, which is what I don't like doing, is why I don't like getting on Facebook going, look at, right?
Yeah.
Anymore, like, you do it for it.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll show you off.
But you don't get on there and do that about you. You do it about us. You go, look at this maker. Yeah. And you shine the light on that person, where I think I speak for a lot of makers who, we just want to hide down in our little shop, and we want to make and create because we feel good, and we want that feel good to transfer to somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you take it and you go, oh, look at this. And we're like, oh, I just thought that was like a simple little thing. And
yeah, no, I'm always excited to see all the new creations.
And I also love that you say no. And that's the other thing that I really highly respect of you, Megan, is you'll have someone come in, and I've been here, and you're like, I love it. I'm not sure that it's going to fit in here for us. And you still make them feel and know that their product is special. It just isn't here.
Right.
And you'll suggest somewhere for them to go. It's beautiful. I love you as a human. I love you as a business person. I think you are fire, and I think that you are wind all in the same day.
Yeah, you know me.
And I think that there's a lot of water in there that you're going to have to open another store or two eventually and find someone to run it.
Do you know what just came on to the Facebook this morning, which I always love hearing? This is not about me, though. This is about you. So then we're going to get off this bandwagon.
This is about us. Remember, it's
yes,
us.
That's true. It is us, but really I want the focal point to be you, because you bring a lot to the shop. But I had a gal Right on to Mary, please. But no, I had a woman comment on the post this morning about your stuff. Your gaggle of stuff in my spotlight here. And she said, I really wish you had a store in Miles City. Mm. And well, first and foremost, thank you to whoever said that. But and it always gets me thinking when I hear certain things like that, because I'm like, ooh, like that's the eastern side of the state, so I could just cover the eastern side, have all my eastern makers over there, all my western makers here, But yeah, you're right. Then the logistics of that are like, who do I hire? Can I even afford that? That type of thing.
And who has your vision? See, that's the thing that's hard to hire for what you're doing, or to start another shop and have someone run, is because do they have the same desire and vision? Your vision is to get all 56 counties and makers visible to people.
Right.
They're probably there to have a job.
Yes. And you bring up a good point. Yeah. No one will have the passion for your business as like yourself.
No.
And so that's something that's been hard for me to learn, though, because I am so passionate about every single one of you. And
but I think we have the I hope all your makers have the passion for this business that I have for your business.
I think they do.
Yeah, I would sure think so, because
I can't say enough great things, honestly, about all 217 of you is what I've calculated. But no, because you guys do, you share that vision. I think, I get vendors that walk in here all the time and they want to know what's new since the last time they restocked me, and so they buy as well. So it's not just,
it's the best place to come Christmas shopping. I send everyone I know, please go and shop there for me. Here's what I like.
I love that. When I don't even go shopping anywhere anymore, it's like if I want a gift for myself, I'm like, what's around here that I can support here?
I think a lot of makers, though, I think we're very guilty at saying, I could make that. We like something, and then we go, I could make that. And then we never make it, we never get it.
Yeah.
And I've really, in the last couple of years, realized that I can make that. However, I don't freaking want to. I want to support her, or I want to support her.
Yeah.
Or I could go through the learning curve to figure out how to make jam, but I'd rather come in and buy your jam,
right?
Or your hot sauce, or your.
I know, when I get asked all the time too, like, what do I make? And granted, okay, I do have one postcard in here that I painted on an original canvas, but I don't make anything because, for one, I don't have a ton of time, right? But also for two, like, what do I need to make? I can look around in here and I can support over 200 people that make exactly what I need and want. So,
what you're making is a foundation for Montana makers to create and have a place.
Well, that's what it will always be. Okay, next question. What, and you've kind of touched on this, what inspired you to start creating and making?
Yeah, I needed a change. I think I'm a maker at heart, even though I didn't grow up learning to, I crocheted a blanket when my son was born, when I was 18.
A blanket too.
Yeah, and it was lopsided, but I made it for him, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. And then I can remember my really good friend, and she was in one time when I was doing her hair, and she had crocheted something, and I said, how do you do that? She goes, come over, I'll show you. And she taught me how to do a crochet, and I went home and I crocheted this thing that almost looked even, called a scarf. And I was like, okay, that was fun. Don't have time for that. Much rather figure out a new hairstyle. That was my thing. Can we cut hair this way? Can we do this? Let's do something different. Like, that was my creation. So I think I've always been a creator at heart. It was just
going from hair to things.
Well, and I didn't look at it. I wasn't creating. I didn't switch into starting Grace to Gratitude because I was making and creating, so to speak.
Right.
I went into it thinking I'm starting a business, and then clearly realized that I am not interested. I'm not interested in the hardships of starting a business. I've had 2 different hair and tanning salons in my life and sold them, and they sold very well, and I'm all grateful and thankful. That's part of why I didn't want to get behind a chair again, even if I rented, because I didn't want to have to be in the same industry trying to build when there's so much new fresh stuff coming in, and it was time. It was just time. You got to cut off the old leaves so the new ones can grow. And so I then found out that I was a creative. If that makes sense. I then found out I really like creating. Again, I didn't know computers, and I still don't know computers. Wow.
They change daily.
Well, now I get something that says your Windows 10 will no longer be supported, and I'm like, I have Windows 10? What? I thought I had 8.
Oh, that's.
I'm so bad at. Anyways, that's probably my biggest downfall. So that's where my transition.
No one would know that though in your creation. So the fact that you nobody would know that you're
not
bad at computers.
Maybe not my creations, but you might know that if I'm trying to make a post and I have no idea how to make it go from Instagram to Facebook. Also,
you know what though? There are ways obviously to share from each platform. I still don't do it that way. Even though I know that I can do it that way, it comes out different, and I hate it.
I go to share on Grace to Gratitude and it'll say this post can't be shared.
Yeah.
Why?
Or it takes your music from Facebook. And my love of the music with all my reels. Like, it'll take that from Facebook, and sometimes it won't play on Instagram, and so then you have a silent reel, which I've discovered, and so I hate that as well. And so I just tend to post on each platform separately. Because
you can have that business suite. Do you have that?
I do.
And then if you post to Instagram, I can set it up where it'll naturally go to Facebook. You just got to go down and click the
Maybe I need a lesson from you.
No.
Because I hate the business suite. I can tell you that. Just FYI.
I don't use it often because it doesn't give me notifications like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I just do know that you can go in and schedule posts. You do.
Yes, I used to do that.
You can go in and schedule them, and then people think that you're actually busy when maybe you're not even busy, but.
I used to do that a lot when I actually had help in the shop, like when Don was here. And if I would take a vacation and he would be here, I would schedule all the posts so then I could, effectively have a vacation. But I stopped doing that again because now I do so many reels, and you can't schedule the reels. You can only schedule the posts. And I'm like, well,
but you could schedule a video.
I could.
And then you turn that video to a reel.
That's very true.
See, I know more than I thought I knew.
Yeah, I know, you do. You do. Like I said, you're giving me lessons right now.
No, I really don't. So the learning curve was, I keep thinking someone's walking in.
I know, it's my phone. I have it on because I'm expecting a call, but I don't know.
Isn't that a call?
No, that's actually us touching all the cameras.
Really?
So it's catching the motion everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Over on that wall, I think.
I'm surprised.
So
because our arms, both of us.
Yeah, because we do this all day.
We talk like this.
Yes.
And this. And then.
I know. It's like Vogue.
Yeah. Like we could talk without words and just arm movement and be like.
I know, and we would know. I think we would.
Yeah. So.
You've touched on this too, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What fuels you to keep doing what you do?
Did I touch on that?
You touched on it a little bit.
That's really a hard one for me. Sometimes.
What makes it hard? Can I ask?
I'm not always fueled. I don't always feel fueled.
I think that comes with any business though. There's days where you kind of go,
and it's not
I don't want to do today.
Yeah, I've tried to, everyone says you got to know your why. And my why goes back to, because I'm a better person if I'm contributing. Really, that's my why. I have to contribute to our family. Mm-hmm. My energy needs to be put in somewhere other than these certain people in my life. I have to have something that's just me and mine. I feel like Grace to Gratitude it's me. I went through, and many of us have gone through hardships in life, and hardships, but if we can find the grace for ourselves and others, I believe it will lead us to gratitude, and gratitude will make us feel it. For me, gratitude is, I do a gratitude prayer every day, or a thank you. I stop. I wouldn't say it's a prayer, because it could be a prayer. Anything that we say, right, could be a prayer.
Absolutely.
Before I get out of bed, I try to spend at least a couple of minutes before I have to pee. As we all do. Even then, I gotta do it while I'm going. I just thank you for my bed. Thank you for a bad night's sleep, but a half night's sleep, or a full night, or, whatever I can do to try to kind of to remind myself that we are all blessed with this day. If you're hearing this, if you're here, you're still here on this earth.
Right.
It could be gone that quick. And we got it. The thing, I think so many people that I interact with is that we find it selfish to take care of ourselves, or to give ourselves grace, or to say, I'm grateful for who I am. I'm grateful I'm the crazy little color lady. Like, I just am, But I really feel that grace leads me to gratitude. So that's where my name came in, that I created. And what was your question?
It was, what fuels you to keep doing what you do? No, and I think you answered that really well. And
what did I say?
that it goes back to that you have to have a purpose.
Yeah.
And so I will say, and maybe this will help fuel you, because I've learned a lot from you just in the couple years that you've been a part of this shop. So with both grace and gratitude, because I had no grace to begin with, a lot of gratitude. And part of that was that, you're right, I did not give any grace to myself. And probably to other people.
But I think it starts here first.
It does. I do. I 100% believe that. You've taught me a ton of how grace does lead to gratitude. So your business name should just fuel you in that sense. But I will say that even though I don't say prayers every day,
I call it a prayer.
I will share this with you.
I mean, it's different than people would say prayers.
Yes.
I think praying is the asking for. I'm a meditator, so then I'm a listener. I meditate every day. I probably haven't missed a day in 6 or 7 years. I meditate 10 minutes every day.
You're probably the sole person who has taught me that it doesn't have to be like a religious prayer.
Right.
So every day when I exit the shop, I'm going to share this. I've never shared this with anyone. No. So then we're going to air it. So I say thank you to the shop every day I exit it. Whether it be a really good sales day, or maybe it's not a really good sales day.
Maybe it's a learning day. You have some challenging customers.
Yes.
That happens in business a lot.
But I shut the light off, and I walk out the door, and I say, thank you, shop. And then I go home. I just go on about my evening. But I didn't start doing that, I think, really until, you and I started talking about like good vibes in the shop and keeping good vibes in here. And so that is one way that I bring gratitude to the shop every day, is that I don't care if it's like a wahoo day of sales, or if it's like, okay, I had one person walk in and they bought one thing. Okay, cool. I'm grateful that you came in today. Thank you. Because that's one person who maybe didn't know about the rest of what's happening in here. And then they're going to go tell their friends. And, then maybe the next day is even better. Who knows?
Yeah.
So I think thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you. And when you walk in, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's going to set the tone for the whole day. Thank you.
Yes.
That we are all blessed today. Thank you that I have the ability to hold the space for these people.
Yes.
And creators and makers. Yes. I mean, yeah.
That's a good point.
And to me, that is a prayer in itself. So I might call it a prayer.
Yeah.
But it may not be like, oh dear God, please bless this day. Like,
yeah.
To me, that's a begging. If my child came to me, Xavier will come to me, right? He'll be like, could I have 5 times in a row? I'm like, you ask me again, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not getting it.
Right.
So then shouldn't have probably taught him a few things. But so then he comes to me, he goes, oh, thank you so much for the big sandwich I'm about ready to eat.
And you're like, what sandwich?
The one that I'm making for you? Oh, you're welcome.
What
see
a
the
smart
difference?
kid,
But
yeah.
see the difference? If someone says thank you, you know,
Yeah.
thank you for the $10 you're loaning me.
They're like, what? You're loaning?
But
me?
you're getting it out of your pocket.
Yeah.
You're on board versus can I borrow $10? No.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Have you earned it?
I like this.
Thank
Do you
you.
think this would work if I went into a bank and was like, thank you for...
This massive loan
Yeah.
you're going to give me
Then
at
I don't have to pay
0%
back.
interest. I don't know. But I do think that I do think walking in and just being like every day, like start it with that gratitude of thank you. That's what I try to wake up with, that feeling of not always, not when your body hurts, not when you don't sleep well, right? We all know that. However,
But you can change that mindset.
and when I don't know, here's my motivation for others that I'm going to give to today. If you are really having a hard time in life, or if you're down, or if it's my thing for me that I do is I go out and find someone who needs a compliment. And it isn't even that I find somebody who's, say, going through worse than I feel I'm going through worse, so I feel better. It's not a superior, inferior. It's I see you, and I just want to say thank you. You know, like if I go to Walmart, there's a lady, bless those people that work there, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Can we just say, like...
Yes.
I
wouldn't want
I
to
don't
work
want
there.
to get up half my mornings because I physically don't feel like getting up yet.
Yeah.
And some of them are up and they physically aren't feeling like getting up either, right? But I don't know. I just, for me, it works. Like, go compliment someone. Go thank someone for being here.
Well, it makes you feel good too. Like regardless, like at least you made.
But when I look
somebody
at them and they feel good,
yeah,
I forget about me. It's not even about me anymore. It's all about them.
Right.
If you feel really broke, take $10 and go gift it to some single mom at a park. And just put it in her hand. I've done this before.
Yeah.
And put it in her hand and just say, it's yours. I don't know why. Just was called to do that, and leave. I'm not there for you to tell me. Don't thank me.
Right.
It's just me doing. I don't know how to explain it. You will feel rich even if you're not rich.
Yeah. That's how I feel all the time in here. Like I do. I feel. Good. I do. That is exactly how I feel. Whether or not I can, pay myself 1 week and 1 week not, it doesn't matter. Like I still
work side jobs when you're not here just to keep this going, which this lady does. In case none of you know, she is incredible what she's doing to keep us seen as makers. And now I'm gonna tear up because
don't. I love you.
I know.
No, like
but you really
again,
are.
it goes back to if I'm not busy,
yes,
somebody's getting yelled at, or
But
like,
sometimes that busy, and I'm learning. This is what I'm learning. This is a new phase that I'm kind of in, I guess, is learning that the silence is really important too.
Yes.
I stay busy to not have to feel frustrated, but what if I could be quiet for just 20 minutes listening to the birds and then go get busy?
Right.
And not feel guilty about it. Like, where were we taught we always have to be producing to feel like we are worthy?
Right.
And that's where it really came from for me, is you have to earn feeling worthy. And now it's changing for me that way. Now I'm learning that I don't have to do.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
To feel like I've done enough, like I'm enough. Like, really, that's kind of where, growing up, right? Don't you do, and you're just trying to feel like enough, and you're wanting to be seen, and you're, and then it just becomes you do because it's who you are now. And we don't take that moment to just stop doing and just be for a minute. Like all the bees that you have around here, the posts that you had the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so like where I was I just need to, in the middle of this chaos that this weekend held some chaos for our family. And in the middle of that, I just would stop and take like a few minutes, and I'd just be like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing you know how we play it? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stop playing the movie in my head, right, and what's happened and what might happen and where it's gonna go and where it might not go, you know, and just I'm gonna listen. And I was like, the birds are singing.
I know, we shut out that all the time.
We could go our whole day and not even hear it's freaking spring.
Right? Yes. No, and that's so funny you say that, because like when the shop gets really busy, obviously you can't hear a ton of like what's out. Just listen, there's birds out on the front porch. And it's so cool, like when it does get a little quieter in here, and even though like I'm like, where's all the people, right?
And we can get in a negative mindset.
Yeah,
and it kind of takes us out of that to go, okay, let me be in the moment. What if stillness is what's going to create the next tidal wave of success? Right? Tidal waves don't come from nowhere, they come from a storm. So when we go through a storm, we got to have a quietness, and then let the waves just come to shore, because otherwise we are the tidal wave. And we'll take the whole, we know.
I was gonna say, I think that's you and I.
We'll take the whole shore out.
Yeah, there will be nothing left.
Yeah. And so that quiet, so that I just can bring in a good wave to surf.
Yeah, and I think that is something that you've also really taught me too. Just
I didn't know I was teaching you anything.
Oh, absolutely. You teach me things all the time, because I take less photos now. Well, so I mean, let's just be real. I'm a photographer anyway, but like when I'm out with Phil, like hiking or something, I mean, I still take photos just because I have to, but I try to really get unplugged, because I know how plugged in I am here. And so I try to just stop and see the mountains and where we're at and what we're doing and take in that moment, because
and if you do that and then take a photo, when you look at that photo, you feel those good feelings. If you're just taking your phone, you're taking photos because you're gonna, I'm gonna post one day something, right? That chaotic energy is what you feel when you see that photo.
Right. Well, and it's funny because yesterday, and this is just for an example, yesterday we went on a hike, we took the dogs, and we started at Mount Helena, which that was where we ended our 20-mile hike. So the moment I took a photo of, I've got Phil, you know, in the foreground and the two dogs trailing behind him, and I'm obviously the last. And that was the moment in time I asked him, I said, we could go from Mount Helena to Eddie McClure and do 20 miles again. And he had turned around and he was like, no.
And she was probably really grateful. I was like, God, you didn't want to do 20.
Yeah, no, and I knew his answer would be no, but I was just like, I really have to capture that at this moment in time, because I'm like, here we are, you know, almost a week later after, you know, conquering that.
I was so proud of you, and I hope none of your customers and nobody was mad, because I was so proud of you. You needed that, and when you took that day just to be and do and experience, all of a sudden your next few days you just grew with ideas and think like
it was amazing.
I know it.
It was, and you're right, I did need that. And you know what was really cool was this last weekend I had multiple customers say, didn't you just go on that massive hike? And you know that, and they were interacting, you know, with me about those posts, and I was like, that's really the first time that's ever really occurred, where people were really intrigued about what was happening outside of here, you know, and that it was still very much a part of what I do here, because I was trying to promote Blackfoot Brewery too, and not that they need any promotion because they're fabulous, but you know, it was just that whole thing of, you know what, like if you do own a business and you do own and operate it and it gets tiring and you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, take that day off, because as you know, I've not allowed myself to do that very often because I'm afraid.
Not without guilt.
Yes.
Or you take a day off because you got to go work doing something else to help somebody else.
Right. And so.
Or choose to do.
Exactly. More. So it's just one of those things where I'm starting to get a little more comfortable in this owner's skin of mine to say, like, I am only one person. I can only do so many things. I know somebody's texting. Okay, what comes easy about your creative process and what's the most difficult? We know it's computers. That's the most difficult.
Yeah.
Like, but what's easy about it? Like, what, when you find a new design, like, you know, like what?
If I could just make it more simple, it'd be just fine. I complicate it sometimes. Everything I want to put it on. If I find a new design, I'm like, oh, it's going on a tumbler, it's going on a hoodie, it's going on a tee, ooh, right?
Yes.
And now that's too much of this. It's, yeah. What comes easy? Loving what I do. Loving the fact that I like to, it really, for me, it really comes back to I want to inspire and motivate others to shine. Like I just had a gal who reached out to me, you probably saw that post, and she's like, she just went through a hard time in getting a divorce, and she's got a boyfriend, and she really could have came out of that. I watched her start to take it up, that it was, I must be wrong because this is happening, and then watched her own her own power again and realize what if maybe this is just for the best for everyone, blah 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 blah. And now, so she's got this new boyfriend. I hope I can say that. And,
we can edit it out if we need.
She wanted, so she sent me a message. She's like, can you make me a ball cap that has, you know, some racing, so he's a racer, he's a car racer or something.
Yeah, I saw this post.
Yeah, and so she said, you know, I said, here, and I'm in it, like, I really want to make it so that you can go buy anything. You can go to Etsy, you can find anybody, but you reached out to me, so that means that you know, she wanted.
Right, she wanted you to do it.
She was like, could you help? You know, I love when you make. So whatever. So anyway, so I'm like, I need to see his car. I need to see what your ideas are. You know, blah 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 blah. And so then we put this thing together, and I send her a thing. And I send her 2 different options, this or this. She's like, oh my gosh, I love the one on the left. You know, could we just switch this out? And I don't. Designing can be hard because you can spend hours designing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will charge a $25 design fee. Well, I'm not going to charge you $25 to design this, even though I probably, in business, I should. Right? But the fact that I'm not like, I can't just design like that. Like, I got to move stuff around, and I forgot your question again. But anyway, that's what made me feel great. So I come up with, and we get his car number on there, we get the color that she wants on there, and she loves it. I have it made today and in the mail. I love it. She's gonna have it today. So this was Friday, I mailed it. I'm sure she'll have it today.
Sweet.
And I love putting in little, I can't even say it because she might see this before she actually gets her package, but I always put in a little something in people's packages that says, this is personal from me to you. Like, I appreciate you, here's an extra. I might throw in a bookmark that I made, or something that, not for her, something that would go with what she's doing. Maybe
surprises are always fun.
Oh,
I love
gosh.
that.
Oh my gosh. And whether they use them or not, you know, I have like these, I have some necklaces that just have inspirational, be you, you are remarkable, you know, blah blah. I like to just put those in there. I don't care if it's $5 a profit out of my thing or whatever it is, 15.
Yeah.
I don't care, because that's
no, you make people's
day. That's the easy part for me. The easy part is just doing. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Just doing. That's
just creating it. That's the easy part.
No, I love
the hard
that.
part is not changing the design 20 times because.
But
what they wanted, what
you're
you
right.
saw.
I mean, I understand, you know, from that design aspect, just coming from like thinking about working the full-time job that I was working before I had opened 56 counties. I was designing the logo while not working.
That's a lot.
And it changed, and there was, you know, and then tweaking the font or tweaking the graphic that's inside the logo or whatever it might be. And it takes time to just get it the exact way you want it. And I think is, you know, being creative people, we're the first to judge our own work and how much we hate it, or how much this might be off center by an eighth of an inch or, you know, whatever, and we're the first to see it. Nobody gives a damn about it but us.
Nobody even knows.
No.
Well, that would probably be one of my hard things too, is giving too many options to people. Because have you ever noticed if you go in somewhere and there's too many options, you choose not to buy and you leave?
Yeah.
It's for real.
Yeah, and I think, and it's funny you say that just from the aspect of what this shop kind of represents, because there are, you know, those occasional people that will come in and they'll be like, wow,
it's overwhelming.
This is overwhelming. And I think sometimes, like, the first time they come in, they don't buy something because they're like, wow, I gotta take it all in first. And then you see them come in again and they're like, well, I saw it last time, I'm gonna buy it this time, you know? So,
or you go home and you think about that soap that I just saw and I'm like,
right?
What?
I know.
That was amazing.
You guys will get a preview of that soon. I think. But yeah, I mean, and so I so kind of understand that overwhelming aspect. But then there's also the other side of that where, you know, like you say, you offered this shirt in one color and then that turned into, I want it in this color, this color, this color, this color. And to me, that was overwhelming to ask you to be like, do you have all these shirt colors? Because now it's on demand, you know, and they don't want this wonderful purpley color or whatever, you know.
Or they want black shirt with purple on it, or
yeah,
because we like to be individuals. Okay, I got a question for you.
Yes.
When did you know you wanted a business like this? Is this a dream from your childhood in a different form?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
So I'll tell you that story first. So when I was a kid, I was kind of like a skater punk, okay? I know, hard to believe.
Right.
Tattered jeans, holes in I still have holes in my jeans.
I can see.
Know, so there's nothing wrong with it, okay? But I always said to myself as a kid that I wanted to have a skate shop and just listen to music all day. And so then I joined the military, got a professional career and did none of that, right? So I worked this professional career and got really tired of the bureaucracy. I can't even say it, but I got really tired of that in where I was working, and I saw a local business come up for sale. And I said, I could do that.
I'm gonna start my skate shop.
and I said, I'm gonna buy said business, right? I was like my credit's great. I'll just take out a massive loan and I'll just buy it, right? So I do like my due diligence with a business, and luckily I come like from a family of accountants that can help me with my due diligence. And I, you know, come to find out it was not what I wanted it to be. And so I was kind of shattered, because at that point I was really to the point where I wanted out of my career so bad that I was like, what am I going to fall back on? Because I had been doing it for so long. And everybody kept telling me, just build it yourself. Like you know exactly what you want to do. You know what you want it to be. So just build it. And I'm like, okay. And
yeah, there wasn't a blueprint to follow.
Mm-mm.
You just made your own.
I did. And with help, obviously. I mean, the gal that was working at this business that I didn't buy, she helped me a lot with not only finding my first location, but then I also had huge support from my partner. He helped me build every single thing that was not only in this current location, but even in the previous location. I mean, he would go to work and then come help me after work and help me build these counters and I mean, just everything. And so, and we adapted, because I mean, we hit roadblocks every which way we could, you know.
To see, and that's what I think we get challenged to see, like, how bad do you want it? How strong is your vision? Are you going to bust through this? Because if you don't go through those challenges, you're not going through business challenges for the next 10 years.
I couldn't find anybody to fund me, so I did this with my own money. I put myself in some big debt, which, okay, fine, don't care, it's money, right? I can't die with it. And so
Can't die with debt either. I mean, you can die with it, but you can't.
And so it was really trying to find, creative ways to make it work. And everything came from like the restore. I mean, we didn't buy anything. You know what I mean? It was just trying to find how do we make it the most affordable way.
So you supported other businesses to get your business started.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it came from antique stores, from the dump.
Well, you did you start though vintage here?
We did. We had a larger vintage selection because the gal that became my employee, she did vintage, and so we really married the Montana made and vintage together because that was her vision, and I saw that vision too. There's a ton of I think there's a ton of avenues all over Montana to support the vintage community, and I think what it's really turning into now is a sustainable community, because we're getting to that point where like I'm tired of buying new, I will say, and I think it's insane that now the 90s are vintage. That's when I grew up. Like, what? Why are t-shirts that I wore in 4th grade now vintage? Like, what is that? So it was something I could really see the vision for, and even though Montana made obviously is the bigger portion in here, I still try to keep that very much alive because that's how it started, and I don't believe it will end, but if it does, we will end with vintage in the store too.
Do they cross over?
They do sometimes, yeah. So I have, I've got a couple makers who take old vintage tablecloths, seed sacks, fabrics, whatever, and then they repurpose that into a Montana made gift. And so it really is kind of like a very cool marriage between the two. And what I'm trying to, this is like something that's just popped into my head right now. This is bad. I'm squirreling.
Watch out. Wait while we work it out.
So we have made in Montana, we have grown in Montana, we have native Montana. Why do we not have found in Montana? Because
what would that be?
So we have so much, I like to call it treasure, because think about all the ghost towns we have, or just all the old historic places across Montana, and people who have picked over some of those spots before they became a historical landmark. And so you have all these pieces that have been found here, and then I sell them in my back entryway, and who knows if they're like a native thing to Montana, but they landed here at some point. Yeah. And so I always think about that, like, why do we not have found in Montana? Nobody can take that idea, it's mine. That's it. Found in Montana.
You may want to edit that part out.
I know.
You're going to have someone pop up with it tomorrow.
Right.
For real.
But yeah, I mean, it's insane, because just even certain things that I have found, like for displays for the shop, have some historical value, and I have found it here, whether or not it's like something that really was like born out of the state of Montana, like maybe it was brought here from another state and somebody settled here, but
you
still
have gemstones that were found in Montana.
That's very true. We do have.
They aren't made, maybe. Well, they are made.
They're made in the ground.
In the ground, but you
have to find them first. But that's a good point.
Yeah, you could have a little found in Montana.
Yeah. I like it. I like that a lot. But yeah, I didn't really have a plan, to be honest. I rolled with it, and on a whim said that it will work. And I had more people like you, like vendor wise and family and friends that said, like, you know what you're doing. And I was just like, okay. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing at all.
And you don't. We really don't. You didn't know what you were doing, but you were doing it. And you were figuring out how to do it, because that's who you are, because you will not stop. Fear isn't going to stop you.
No, that's one thing that, fear is what I think keeps is what keeps it going, because if it hasn't been done, or even if it has been done, like, how can I make it better? How can I just do, I guess. I don't know. It's just, but that adaptability like keeps me going, and squirrels every day. That's what that hike came. There was squirrels that came.
It was important. That hike was so important.
It was very
I
important.
watched you after that. I listened to our conversations. It was more important than you even knew. You thought you were just doing it for you and Phil and whatever, and it was so deep that you needed it.
Yeah, it's an
you were just looking all of this. Sometimes we're like too close.
Yeah,
we're seeing it too closely. It's like tunnel vision, and that's all we can see. And you needed this, so you could be like, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then,
yeah. I mean, you're very right. That tunnel vision is a very real thing, and I think that happens with our creative minds a lot, because we are so creative and we are constantly thinking, and the wheels are turning, and sometimes those wheels have to stop. And I think that hike it stopped the wheels, but it let them continue to grow afterwards, because
it's kind of like if you go out, and this is how I see it, if you go out and you just stare at this plant that you just planted, how long are you going to stare at that to see if it grows? And then are you going to see the growth because you've stared at it?
Right.
If you go look at it and then you come back a couple of days, you're like, oh my gosh, that thing bloomed and it has a flower. And
no, and that's very true. Like, taking that step away does help you kind of see and appreciate what you have.
See it differently.
Yeah, and see it differently. So no, I think that hike was everything I needed. Everything I needed. So I know we talked about this before we turned the camera on. Because you make a variety of items, and she does. If you saw my post this morning, and I don't even think that was everything. I just kind of grabbed what I could very quickly. But what is your favorite thing to create? Because you have a variety of items, from apparel to tumblers to like accessories, in the sense of for your ears, or whether it be for your phone, your car. I mean, you have quite the sheet of making.
We have a lot of things in here that are different than I don't have like one. I just don't have. I have things I don't.
Okay.
I have things I don't love making.
That's okay too.
But I really don't make them.
Good for you for saying no.
It's my life. I'm in charge, and I gotta enjoy it. So I love it. I love what I make. There for a while, there was this whole big thing where you bleach shirts.
Yeah.
And then you print on them. I didn't love that. Bleach is I don't like bleach in hair. I always try to do anything. So this maybe goes back to me with hair, but I would always try to use something that had levels. I could lift 6 or 7 levels, but it wasn't bleach, because bleach eats fiber, and bleach eats fiber of clothing.
I didn't know this, so this is, see,
so
again,
true.
I'm learning.
Yeah, and so you have to stop it before. And I've just seen. There's just it just wasn't my favorite. I think it was really cute, and I have some, and I'll probably still make some this summer because people like them, and I have, a lot of people on different platforms that like that bleach thing.
Right.
But that's probably my least favorite to make, because you bleach it, you got to get it, just like hair, sometimes you got to get it white, but you can't make holes in it. So now you got to stop, got to make sure the process is stopped, and then you got to make sure that bleach doesn't get on anything else. Right, so it's the process I don't love, probably. But
you like the outcome.
I like the outcome. I like this outcome more, maybe.
Now this is ice dye, right? Is that ice dye?
This would be an ice dye, or a, this I didn't make, this one I bought. This one I did not.
Oh, okay.
Or this would be a watered down dye, but your shirt wouldn't start white. You would probably start with a blue shirt.
Like it was a blue shirt to begin with.
It's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This one I didn't make, but I love it. And I wasn't here to be like, look at the shirt I made.
Oh, I did that for you. I even wore your animal of your spirit animal.
My moose?
Yeah, your moose.
Oh, you did.
I did. I have to make it special, you know.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I knew you wouldn't promote yourself today, so I did it for you. So that's fine. That's what I'm
I
doing.
am promoting myself enough, trying to talk about
I know,
myself,
that's
and I'm just like, oh.
I know. Thank you for being the
Can I tell you?
first.
Yes. Can I just tell you how sick to my stomach I've been for like 2.5 days?
Me too, honestly. Like
Really?
I
don't know why.
Well, I don't either, because I knew we would have this very organic feel, and it would feel natural, and you know, I knew it would end up that way. But I think because it's always the first one,
yes,
and because now, as I've mentioned it, like people are now like, are you going to do a podcast? And I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. I can sit here and talk all day, you know, about my makers. And I say my makers because they're mine, okay? I mean,
good.
I know you guys have other avenues. That's fine. Whatever. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're still here.
But like, where was I going now that you're all Podcast, yeah. And I don't even know how to do that. Like, again, when we get done with this video, like, we're gonna have to edit it down, right? Like, we probably have, you know, 60 minutes.
We probably have more than that.
Yeah. And so
No,
I've been terrified going, okay, how am I going to edit it properly? How am I going to get the best pieces to showcase Grace to Gratitude? Like, you know, so all of those things are running through my mind, because I'm like, I have to do justice.
Because you had this idea and you threw it out there and you put it in motion, and then here we were without knowing.
No planning. Without
knowing where it's going to go, but that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes you you. You don't have to sit down and be like, okay, a P's going to go here, and then I'm going to dot the I over here, and then this. Because how many times does life go according to plan?
Never.
Right?
Never.
You just got to have the vision. Your vision and your intention in life is way bigger than your plan. Right. The plan is out of our hands. This is my belief. The plan is out of our hands.
Yeah.
But the vision and the intention is what we are supposed to create. And we create that as creators, as people, as whatever, and then we let it, like you just said, organically come out. And
it's the best I can do.
You'll be doing podcasts because it'll be super easy for you, because it's just talking.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, it's like, it goes back to, and again, this is why I've wanted to do this for so long, because I tell your guys' stories every day that I'm in here. And I love doing it, so don't get me wrong. It's not that I want to stop telling anyone's story. I think, though, I can only reach so many people, right? When people come into my shop, that's who I'm reaching. I'm reaching people on social media. It only goes so far, right? Some people will scroll past it. That's fine. A podcast, or even just having the sessions here in the shop like this, it is just another way to where you guys put your own stamp on your story. Because yes, I'm going to tell it how you tell me, but I also want you guys to have that voice to say, this is why I do what I do. This is what I love about it. Or this is, you know, all these questions that we've come up with today. This is you putting your stamp on your story, and every single one of you deserve to do it. And so I'll make it through all 217 of you at some point.
I printed those out in 2 different places, right? And it was like, and I'm stuck on the first one, like for days, okay?
Yes.
For a couple days. The first one is tell us something fun about you, a fun fact about you.
Yeah.
I didn't even read the next ones, and I'm so stuck, and I'm stressed, and Charles like, what's wrong? And I go, I don't have anything fun about me. And he goes, what? And I go, and I said, I gotta have a fun fact, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, that's when he brings up, well, did you tell him you carry a 300, a bigger gun than your own husband, and blah, you know, blah, blah, and this is, and I go, no, is that fun?
It is a fun
He goes,
fact.
it is a fun fact, that's what he said. And I was like, okay, so then I looked at the next question. And I literally just, the questions are interesting, because I think a lot of makers and a lot of people just in life and business, we forget sometimes where we started and why we started. And it really got me back to, it really took me back to before I started my first salon, and I was thinking about you and the fear and the guidance and the way it came forward and the way it happened. And you just know it's meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubting. all these pegs have to fit in a certain place for it to come together, and if it doesn't, and those pegs, some of them are out of your control, so you know that there are some support from above, right? Or there's some guidance to this, like,
absolutely.
And same with you. And so I was thinking about you and your journey and that, and I don't know, it was really fun to have those questions, but I did get a little pimple, a little zit of stress. Just so you know. Yeah, it's kind of weird because we don't.
No, keep going.
What?
Because
I was just get on there and gloat about yourself. Like, I don't even think of myself. Like, what am I good at? What do I like? What do I like to make? Everything. I'm weird. I don't know. Right.
Well, that's cool though, because I know as I go through, some of these sessions, like in the future, like I have makers that do only make, one thing, or,
right.
Or I don't know, maybe just it's like one aspect of something.
Right, like maybe they're a wood maker and they make tons of different kinds of wood designs, but they're just into wood, where mine could be lots of different.
You do use a lot of different media type things
from fabric to
right, because like I've encountered where I've asked a vendor, oh, could you make it on plastic or something, or whatever, and they'll, oh no, I don't like that, it doesn't come out this way, I won't do it, so
this is what I do wood, and this is what, or I do earrings, this is what I do, and so I know I'm not going to try to make you that mug with that design or that.
Exactly, and I've run into that too, and there's no shame in that. Like I don't, I never make any vendor feel like, oh, okay, you don't want to make that, okay, fine.
But you want to ask.
Yeah, and I do. I always ask, like, hey, I had this request for this. Are you interested in trying to make that? No, I'm going to stick with what I do. Okay, cool, I'll let them know.
And then there's me. Well, let me see. No, I screwed up 4 of them. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that for you, Meg.
Yeah, and, so again, like, it's very different. But when you asked me about, well, do you know what questions you're going to ask? I then panicked because, again, this was an idea that sprouted, obviously, and it sat on the back burner, and you don't think about it for a while. And then you announce it, and then you have no plan again. And so I really had to sit down one day and really think about, what would I want to be asked if I was sitting in that seat, or, what would be important to ask, I guess. So it took me a little bit to kind of come up with that.
There's going to be a Megan at 56 Counties interview in the future of this, where someone gets to sit down and interview you the whole time.
I mean, you're welcome. I put you in the hot seat first. So.
I kind of already did, ask, because I really think that it's important that people understand more than just. I really do believe, Megan, and I'm not just blowing steam.
Oh, I know.
I really do believe that they need, if people understood her vision and her intention for all of us, you would be in here shopping to support her and us. I do. And because it's such unique stuff.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because just seeing the journey, even that I've been through with this business, there are those days where you doubt every single thing that you've done, or
especially slow days in a row.
Yes, and we all know what's coming in the retail industry. I mean, it happens. Your first quarter is always the slowest, and we try to prepare for it, but I think every year it's a little bit different, and it's still frustrating, and it's still like, we have all this great stuff. Why is nobody coming? And we know the reasons why. It's it's not that they don't want to spend their money. It's we're all recovering from Christmas. We're trying to figure out the beginnings of the year. Yeah,
we really have weird stuff with our economy and our presidency, and I'm not getting into politics, but it has affected the masses and our spending. Yes. And whether we feel safe and we're hoarding our money, or whether we feel unsafe and we're hoarding, or whether we feel safe and we're able to spend without. But I don't think most people aren't just feeling free right now to just be like, oh, no worries.
No.
So it really does, and we don't always know that's coming. Like, 2020. We didn't know we were getting shut down.
No, we did not.
I mean, I just opened my online thing, right? I started in 2012 to study. I just started opening my website, and now it's all getting shut down. And okay, I know nothing about a website. I know nothing about a shutdown. And what is all this fear mongering going? Like, everyone was negative and scared and judgmental.
Yeah.
And it changed everyone's ability to feel safe.
Well, and I think, and we still are feeling those after effects now as well. I mean, I still think, even though COVID was, 5 years ago, give or take.
But was it? Is that that's when it started?
That's when it started.
But
I mean,
is it even ended yet?
No, we don't hear as much about it, right?
Well, but I mean, the thinking and the way, I still see people in masks, so I still see people like being conscious, and not meaning that they're scared, but I just think we still have a little bit of this, I don't know what you would call it, that it did to the economy. No, but it hurt our economy a lot.
It did.
But it also was, what I think it was most people don't see this, maybe, but I think it was a blessing in disguise, because if you look at how many people came home, and this sounds terrible, but couples came home and they're both hanging out together at home with their kids, and they don't like each other and they don't make it. There was more divorce.
Yeah.
I heard from all this, which to me just means there's growth, there's understanding. But there was also more happy homes. You also had kids who had both parents at home. Like, on the flip coin of that, there's some beautiful things that came out. We see men now who get to work from home, right? And don't have to go into an office, and get to go to their child's Christmas program.
Right.
I saw more dads at Christmas programs in the last 2 years.
I think we learned too, though, that we didn't necessarily have to be in an office to make the world run.
Correct.
I mean, and that was, and I will tell you that,
and that's why Montana's grown too, is because you can work right here in Montana, in this beautiful state, if you have 5G, and you can be making tons of money that we don't make working in our own state,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it opened a lot of doors that I think a lot of people
did.
were more focused on the pandemic itself.
Yeah.
But didn't see where some of those benefits came through.
That was our storm. That was our, tidal wave that was getting ready to come. That was the storm. There was so much that we can see that came out of that in a great way. It wasn't fun going through it.
No.
But it cleaned house. It cleaned house.
It did. And
in a lot of ways.
It really did.
Changed household. Anyway, we shouldn't have went into that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
It doesn't matter.
You can delete that. No one wants to hear about COVID.
You answered this already. So I'm not sure we necessarily have to cover it.
Okay.
And we could probably end on this note. But the last question is what made you think 56 counties was a good fit for your products? And like I said, you did touch on that briefly. Yes. But again, this was the lady who brought color to the shop.
And scared everybody.
Yes, scared everybody, but then became a top seller.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, open arms, come on in. It was hesitant. We'll see what it does. We'll give it a try.
Right.
That's really what that was, that first day that I came in, and I had never, done it. And the other thing is, if you have stuff in other places, you probably already know this is the most professionally ran. You get
Thank you.
It is. Exactly when you're getting when you're getting your spreadsheet, what you call that, your invoice.
Yes.
You know exactly what you're going to be getting your paycheck. Like, you don't have to call up and go, hi, did anything sell in the last 3 months? I haven't heard from you.
See, and that would drive me crazy. So I can only operate this business the way I would hope to be treated if I was one of you. Yeah. And so, coming from a family of accountants and some who were also business owners as well, like, I don't stand for that. Like, you pay your people. These are the people who keep this running.
And run it like a business. Send out your, what do you call it at the end of the month?
Summary.
Yeah, send out your summary of sales. Sorry, it was really blank.
Sales summary. There it is.
Even if it's zero. So you know.
Yeah.
So your people know.
Exactly.
I love that you run it like, not run it like a business, you run it and it's a business and it's legit and it's
good. I'm glad.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I adore you. I thank you for taking in my color that day, changing my world.
Thank you for changing mine. I also feel that.
I send people, I'm like, oh, you can go get that at 56 counties. I don't have to send them to a website. I don't want to send it to a computer. I just like, go down there.
Well,
I do love that.
No, I love you and I love everything that you've brought to the shop, and I really so much thank you for being like the guinea pig for this very first session, because who knows, I don't even know what I'm going to be up against later on when I edit it and post it. So again, this is the end of session 1 with Grace to Gratitude. Stay tuned for the edited version, because we have a lot to say on here.
Bring it in.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You know, you could probably take little segments and create a
like